the most important thing about exercise. A lot of us get it in our head that we're only going to lose weight unless we're killing ourselves in the gym. And you want to hire a trainer and you want to do all this stuff. And like, I think the first thing I want you guys to understand is that exercise is literally 10% of what's going on in your body when it comes to weight loss. But you want to focus in on that. Now, I will say this. A lot of us hire trainers for motivation. It's going to do all this great stuff for us and whatnot. The reason why trainers want to throw so much exercise at you is because every session you buy, money in their pocket. This is not to say it is not good for you. It is not to say that it's not wonderful and all that kind of stuff. But I do want your mind wrapped around the idea that food is king to losing weight. So take the pressure off the exercise. And I think that's a huge beginner tip. A lot of you are in this mindset that the exercise is going to be what fixes it all. And then maybe you get to eat what you want, or you're in a mindset of, I'm working out so hard, I can have a little extra, I can do this, I can do that. And that is all wrong. If exercise is 10% of weight loss, I don't care how much you exercise. You don't get bonus food. That's just math. Now, mentally, it stinks because it makes you a dog. You're earning treats. We are not dogs. We do not need to earn our food. We need to eat in a way that makes us feel good and healthy. So so if you, let's say you join my tribe and all my girls that are in there, the reason why the No BS weight loss program, when you join, exercise is week 4, is because I don't want it distracting you from getting your food straight. All of us who have a lot of weight to lose, the last thing we need to do is be distracted from getting the food straight. So it's 10% of what your total weight loss is. Now, here's what I want you to think about when you're first starting. So let me tell you how I started with exercise, because a lot of you are like, oh, I love your arms, and you've lost 100 pounds, you look so good, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, but exercise was not what did it. This is the way exercise helped me lose weight, okay? When I was, if you've listened to my story, then you know that I was sitting there with my little 1-year-old, and I couldn't keep up with him, and I was 30 years old, feeling like ass, 29 or 30. And I knew that I needed to start with something. And I was not ready to work on my food the first couple weeks. So the one thing I knew that I could do is I could go walking. So I would drive my ass to the gym 15 minutes, walk for 15, drive my ass back home for 15, and I built a relationship of commitment to improving my health. It was not about killing myself in the gym, and it was not about finding a restrictive diet, and it was not about all this crazy stuff. I literally was like, I am in it this time. I'm figuring this out. I am going to lose weight. I didn't know how much. I didn't know what would happen. The only thing I knew is I didn't like how I was living, so I wanted to figure out a way that I could live in a way that I felt amazing. And when I had that mindset, it was a lot easier to build in exercise that didn't scare me and overwhelm me or get me so sore that I couldn't show up the next day. I can't tell you how many times when I was, 250, 220, all those sizes, I'd hire a trainer. They would whip my ass, and then they would just, basically it was like they whipped my ass to show me just how out of shape I was, as if I didn't know that myself. And then for 3 days, not be able to walk or move. Well, then I didn't want to go back because I was humiliated. Or I didn't want to go back because it was so painful. Or I'd go back for a little bit, and I knew I was like, if this is the way it's always going to be, I can't keep up with this. So I always had this mindset when I was losing weight of whatever I was doing, I was going to be able to keep doing for the rest of my life, and I was going to be able to keep up with it. I wouldn't need to quit anymore. I talked to you guys the last few days about not needing to quit anymore, not practicing quitting. That all starts with setting some very realistic expectations of yourself and building up the what I call the mental muscle of showing up for yourself. Like if you say you're going to the gym, by God, you go to the gym. Like you need to be bleeding out your eyeballs before you don't go. But you don't put it on the plan in the very beginning unless you feel confident you're going to do it. It is, if you take my free course, pnp411.com, if you take the free course, that is why in the first video, I don't care if it's food prep, I don't care if it's how you eat, I don't care if it's exercise or what it is. When you are at your rock bottom where you're like, I am so sick and tired of this weight, you need to start with very manageable and doable things that you can show up for on a routine basis. Because we're not practicing that enough. And that's what always was my stumbling block. Is I was like an all or nothing kind of girl. Like I was all in, like I'm very A-type personality. So if I started a diet, I changed everything overnight. Well, the first time something went wrong, I felt like a failure and then I was out. Or the first time it was too hard, I was out. So what I think is that we have to really establish a way to start practicing commitment, practicing honoring promises to ourselves, and practice knowing that we're important. When you honor, like I want you to think about your family and your friends. If they all love and adore you because you take care of everybody, it's because you honor your commitments to them religiously. You don't say you're going to do stuff and not do it. The same thing goes on with yourself. So you have the skill set. So now you just got to do it yourself, right? So with exercise, what I have my clients do is I have them start with what we call it a minimum baseline, but what I just want to teach everybody here, and girls, all my beginners, you have not had this lesson yet. So I don't want you freaking out like, oh God, Chris, like what are we doing? That's your week 4. So wherever you're at in the program, whether you're in week 1 or 2, I still don't want you worrying about the exercise unless you're already an exerciser. Otherwise, I just want you just to listen and enjoy that this lesson comes in week 4. So what I want you to do is I want you to think about exercise in these terms. I want you to start with where you are. So if you've been doing nothing, that's why I suggest people walk. Most people can walk. Short of having some kind of a disability or there's a serious problem, most people can walk. And it is the most undervalued form of exercise I see people. All the time I'm like, well, I'm just walking. Walking's not enough. It's like, fuck that. I lost 100 pounds and I started with walking, so don't tell me walking's not enough. I walked today. Because I did run yesterday, but today I was like, man, I just want to do some walking and I want to listen to the podcast and I want to lift some weights. That's all I want to do today. And that's the second piece. You got to love it. Like you are not going to show up at the gym for the rest of your life and turn your healthy ship around and do all that kind of stuff unless you are willing to do what you like and find what you like versus, well, what's the best way to lose weight? What is the best exercise plan for me to get this weight off? There is no best exercise plan, and do not let some internet person, I know I'm on the internet, but let me just say, don't let some other internet person blow smoke up your ass that there are exercise plans out there that are the right ones, that are the best ones, or whatever. There is no best plan. The best plan is the one that gets your ass off the couch with a smile on your face routinely. If that is Zumba, hula hooping, jumping rope, on the trampoline with your kid, taking a neighborhood walk, lifting weights, beast mode, and CrossFit, I don't care what it is. There's your best exercise plan. The people who long-term lose weight and who are long-term healthy and keep their weight off are the people that, every one of them will tell you, I love my life. Like, I love the food I eat. I love the exercise I do. They're not bitching and griping and not looking forward to it every day. So if you're trying to lose weight in a way that sucks for you, then yes, ma'am. You will not keep it off and you will not lose it for long term. And I mean, you can ask any, I have got several girls that have lost all their weight. I have got coaches that have lost all their weight. I mean, my coaches, we're like 80 pounds and more. We have or 50 pounds and more. Actually, one of them's only lost 50, right? Whatever. I want you to think about it. Talk to people that have kept weight off and have changed their life. They love their life. They don't love their life because of their size. They love all the things that they do and think, and their size reflects that. There's your difference. So many of you are out there wanting to lose weight, thinking that when you lose it, you're going to be happy. Not if you hate everything you're doing. You will be white knuckling your maintenance until it doesn't work anymore. Your body's not going to handle it. Your mind is not going to handle it. Eventually, you're going to want to relieve the pressure. Okay, so with the exercise, here's the main key points, and then I'm going to answer questions, okay? There is no best plan. You showing up regularly is always going to be your best plan. Be willing to try things. Try it all. Just try it. And I know this is difficult for a lot of you who have like 100 pounds to lose, because I totally feel you. Just start with where you think, I can do this. It may not feel amazing in the beginning. Like, I know for me, the first few times, even just walking into the Y to get on the treadmill, I knew how to start a treadmill. Even that was uncomfortable. But it was like, well, I know I can do that. Be willing for it to be a little tough in the beginning, especially mentally, but just get in there and get good at showing up for yourself. The other thing is I would plan it. Look at your week. Plug it in somewhere that you know it can easily fit in. And if you are not exercising at all, I mean, find some small pockets. Like, find 10 minutes so that you can, in your mind, be like, I exercise today. All that needs to happen in the very beginning, since exercise is only 10% of weight loss, here's the deal. The most important thing that has to happen is your brain has to get trained that you exercise. So if that is, like, I've had like surgeries where I've been out for 6 or 8 weeks, couldn't do jack, right? I'd lay in that bed and I would meditate. And in my mind, I scheduled it each day. And I knew when I was going to be meditating and doing deep breathing. And I called that exercise. So that in my brain, the habit stayed. You can do the same stuff at 100 pounds. You get to choose whatever you want to make it mean. The only thing we really want to focus on is making sure your brain makes the connection that we are doing this. Like, look at us go. We are accomplishing things. And you get a hit of that good relief that we normally look for in food. I am all about teaching you girls like how to figure out ways to have small hits of feeling good so that you're not always looking for it in your food. The problem is most of you just won't give yourself those things. You won't give yourself like, I'll say, this week I want you to plan like 3 days of 10 minutes of like just light exercise, just whatever you want it to be. But I want you to call it exercise and I want you to check those boxes off. And then you'll go, okay, well, I'll do that, but that's not good enough. It's probably not going to get my weight off. And then your brain goes, wah. And then all of a sudden you have just killed making that positive connection. Your brain needs the positive connection. You have to like be like, no, we're not thinking that. We are totally going to be all in on like, this counts. Because you need it to count. You need every win you can get when you're trying to lose weight. Get creative about finding your wins. And exercise is one of the easier ways to do it. Because you can be so creative about what counts. Okay? And then it's just finding what you love. And I promise you girls, when you start getting creative, when you start planning, when you start doing that stuff, all of a sudden you start wanting to try other things. You start asking people about other stuff. Try different videos. Try things at the gym. Try whatever. Ask me if you need help. Whatever. My tribe, ask me. I will figure out ways for you to exercise all day long, every day and twice on Sunday. It's just, I think it's important. Now, I'm going to go back through and answer questions because people are always like, they have usually a million questions. You can tell I exercise, which I love. But I did not, honestly, you guys, I was so not an athlete. And you're probably seeing more and more. Y'all keep asking me for before and after pictures. So you are seeing more and more on the page of my before pictures. I was so not an athlete at all. In fact, I'm going to dig out this one picture. When I was in high school, I marched in band. And I was in my 200s when I went to high school. I think I was probably about 190 to 210, somewhere in there when I started high school. we had to march from our high school to our stadium, which was about probably 5 blocks in the heat. And I looked miserable. It really shows what not an athlete I was. I mean, I literally walked about 5 blocks well, I was in polyester, but still, it was terrible. And so when I did start exercising, like as I did more and more, I wanted to try more and more because I was showing up. I found that I liked it because I had taken all the pressure off myself for it to do something for me. I took all the pressure off of me having to do it right. I took all the pressure off of me for it having to hurt. When I released all that, suddenly I was able to find things I really liked. And then I just did more and more.